Hey everybody, Jason Burmis here with John Fitch. We got a big old mixed martial mindset for you. Fitch, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing good. A little tired, but I'm getting in better shape. Starting to throw the bigger guys around a little bit this week.
Yeah, last week you were telling me you were struggling a little bit with those actual heavyweights on top of you with the jits moves. It was a little tough, huh?
It's just more weight to move around, and then I got more mass, more muscle mass, so it takes a lot more fuel to get the oxygen to those muscles.
Well, maybe we got to get you on the black oxygen. You know, Miletich swears by it. Boss Rutan's on it. Cyborg's on it. And Cyborg, dude, again, she went 5 rounds last time. And I'm not saying that everybody's not on the super sauce anymore, because every time I watch one of these UFC cards, guys, and I just watched this weekend's, I know you watched the prelims on Bellator. I watched all of Bellator, all of UFC. There still is not any PFL. The playoffs are coming up on that one. But I'll say this, man. People are getting juicy old. I mean, Wonder Boy, despite his loss, looked in pretty incredible shape for a 40-year-old man. Now, you always did too, though, John, to your credit, you know, deep into your career, and you were able to keep that weight. But you're also, you know, pretty much a lifelong wrestler, right?
Lifelong wrestler. Well, I mean, I when I started figuring out that if you just were in control of what you ate and were consistent with what you ate, most of the time you ate the same thing. Like, it's a lot easier. It's a lot easier to maintain if you're eating high quality foods, and that's the majority of your meals. Like, I meal prep, and the majority of my meals, 90% of the meals, are something that I cooked: ground beef, ground turkey, maybe some rotisserie chicken, maybe some steak every once in a while. But like, the majority of my meals are ground beef, ground turkey.
And you're a very disciplined individual. Let's get that out of the way.
Once you set the schedules in place, like, it gets pretty easy. It's just the way you do things.
Mm-hmm. Well, again, John.
I eat right now. I've been putting on weight. I've been putting on mass. So I've been eating like 9 to 10 eggs for breakfast every morning. On the weekends, I may fast, or I'll eat a little bit less, or we'll eat. We'll take the boys out somewhere and we'll get breakfast sandwiches or something like that. A little bit of a cheat meal, a little more carb on that. But it's just scheduled. I have scheduled meals. I eat the same stuff at the same times most days.
You are a disciplined mother trucker. You don't.
It's easier. It's easier because most people are like, "Oh, I'm starting to get hungry. What should I eat?" And then they spend how much time thinking about what they're going to eat. I have a bell that goes off, and it's like, "Oh, it's time to eat," and my meal's right here.
Well, to each his own, John, because there's some days I go 20 hours without eating, sometimes more. Like, when I'm on the road, man, I can literally do probably 2 days without eating. I can just go liquids, especially if I'm working.
Yeah, I have like special things I'll do and eat when it's a travel, because like, it's hard to find the same stuff, and I can't like bring my meal prep with me on the plane.
No. Well, I drive, so you could bring it with you, but you'd have to have a little cooler. Listen, guys, I see a lot of you over there wondering why we're not talking about Joe Biden and Facebook. We're going to talk Joe Biden, Facebook, censorship. We're going to play Zombie Joe trying to speak. He can't speak, guys. Even when he talks about this, he can't speak. And a lot of people are getting this story wrong. We've been on top of it. The Disinfo dozen, the next wave of people they're calling to be banned from all internet. And by the way, we can't talk about it all here on YouTube. This is the first. Yeah, this is the first YouTube stream of Mixed Martial Mindset in a few weeks, because we've been banned, and we've got to be really careful about medical misinformation. So we're going to play Zombie Joe. I got a clip queued up for Brian Stelter and Michael Wolf. I think that we'll be able to play that on the YouTube end. But they're calling for massive censorship, massive deplatforming, and The Last American Vagabonds, that I know a lot of you guys watch over at Rockfin and other platforms, just got banned from PayPal, you know, and that's where he had his salary for all his writers, for the website, you know. Whitney Webb does occasional work there. Derek Bros does occasional work there. We now have Taylor Hudak that's doing occasional work there.
Are we really not going to ever have any, like, conservative or right wing or free speech type paying systems? Is nobody going to step up? Like in a class, you
Let
know,
me say this, John.
System.
Let me
You're
say
supposed to have
this.
somebody that's like, hey, wait a minute, there's a void for people making money and doing this thing. I'll fill that void. That's generally how it happens, right?
Well, you'd think that, but competition is over. Capitalism was really never there. It was always crony capitalism, and whenever anything got too big, they just bought it up, right? Yeah. Now they don't really care about...
Subsidized everything, bailed everything out.
Well, they don't care about short-term profits or even long-term profits if it goes against their political ideology. Look what happened to Lindell and MyPillow. That's a huge seller, and all these outlets want to take the hit on not selling that in their stores. It never used to be like that, but now it is like that. Well, they're banning... whatchamacallit, all-star games in cities because people are demanding actual counts of votes. And we can't even talk about the audits here because you'll get censored for it. So before we get there, guys, because I do want to say conservatives not the answer. I did a story today that
they haven't conserved anything.
Well, look at this. I mean, Brandy Love. She's a porn star, right? She's a longtime porn star. She's 48. She's also a director. She's also married. She also has a child. She also writes for The Federalist. Anyway, she had a VIP spot at this thing, and they make it out to be like for kids, but it was really about young people. She didn't come in like a weird sexualized outfit. She wasn't offering hand jobs. She was just there. And Charlie Kirk, Turning Point USA, kicked her out. Said goodbye. And it's like, well, why? You know, she's not allowed to have that profession as an adult. She's not advocating
Well,
it.
I mean, I get it, though, because the conservative is supposed to conserve, you know, a way of being that was a long time ago. And porn is not a part of that. And it's like, I understand the arguments because there's a lot of people who are like, why are the conservatives embracing the trans sexual
but then are you also going to kick out
and all that stuff?
Are you going to kick out people like Milo Yiannopoulos, who's made his bones in conservative media, quote unquote?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm sorry. To me, you can't have it both ways, and you can't tell me that there are. I mean, there's just so many homosexual conservatives that aren't closeted anymore. It used to be a big dirty secret, but it's not, right? So,
well, I mean, that's sexual orientation is something different than a job.
Is it? I mean, to me, again, she's not bringing
I mean,
it
I
there.
could see that because I don't want my kid, if I had a daughter, I don't want my kid seeing this porn star director who's successful in my community. Maybe I'll do that someday.
But again, she's not there speaking.
I mean, I get it.
Hold on, she's not there speaking. She doesn't have a table. She's just attending the event. You know, it's like, how does your kid know who that is anyway, if they're asking that? You know, I mean, these are bigger, these are adult discussions, and the bottom line is these are young people, and they're going to have to go with actual adult discussions, and you're not, again, it's not like she was promoting porn, and it's not like it was drag time story hour or stripper time story hour or any of that. She wasn't there to promote anything. She was there to watch people like Dan Bongino and other conservatives that were speaking. So that's where my problem is. You want to be free speech? And this is why I've never said it's a conservative issue. They want to make it, conservatives are getting banned. No.
Well, and again, I'm not taking anybody's side here. I'm just bringing up the point of view because I understand, because part of my thing with that conservative stuff too is that they haven't conserved anything. So like, there's nothing the way it used to be. You know, the conservatives today are mostly the liberals of the 90s. And they take a lot of the traditional conservative religious stuff. And to me, it's really hard for me to say like, okay, yeah, we're believing in this religion because these books say these things, but we're not going to listen to most of that stuff. We changed our mind about a lot of stuff. We're going to get soft about a lot of stuff. Like, speaking just from an observational perspective on the outside, like if you're talking about religions, like I got to lean towards a religion that hasn't changed in thousands of years as being a more realistic religion than the one that changes to whatever the popular whim is that week. You have female priests and you have pro-abortion churches and stuff like that. And it's like, I'm not taking a side on that. I'm just making the observation that like, if God gave you these things to go by, isn't that just the way it's supposed to be? And you're not supposed to change those things?
Here's where I'm going to go with it, though.
Changed. Islam's still hammering the door the same way.
And by the way, we're going to talk about the rise of the Moors. I got some interesting articles about that. I've watched some police footage, but that's going to be another subject. Here's my issue. You're not a religious organization. You're Turning Point USA. You were started by Charlie Kirk, who's a grifter at 18 years old in 2012. Now, when I say grifter, we did the video earlier where he was saying that in his mid-20s, he couldn't walk down the street or sit for 10 minutes without being in extreme pain. Now, I'm sorry, Castillo, he tipped over at Rockfin. He's a great viewer. He says, you don't understand anybody's pain. Dude, the guy's done literally hundreds, if not thousands of radio and TV interviews where I've watched him sit there for more than 10 minutes and smile and presentations on stage. If you're in extreme pain and you're sitting for 10 minutes in your late 20s, something's going on. Charlie Kirk is not an overweight individual. He doesn't have chronic pain. He is a grifter. I don't know if Relief Factor works or not. I can tell you his intro with him throwing a football is all bullshit. Okay? Now that guy who started this, okay, this isn't a religious organization at all. That's my deal. Like, you can't get behind. Turning Point USA made its bones behind Trump, a guy who's been married 3 times, buys hookers, okay, literally buys hookers, was connected to Epstein. You can't have it both ways, guys.
Artificially inflated the markets.
You know, pick your hypocrisy, guys. And by the way, screwed over a lot of real workers. Also worked with gangsters to make Atlantic City happen. Worked in the gambling industry. I believe that might go against some things in the Bible as well. So you can't be behind that guy and promote everything he is, and we act like we have the moral high ground and kick Brandy Love out of there. Come on. Like, Brandy, I'm with you on this one. Good for you. You can have your political views. Like, listen, I don't want to be putting. Let me give you an example, John. So many people have this preconceived notion about Jason Burmis, conspiracy theorist, and who I am and what I believe, because there are certain things I've put out that basically equal conspiracy theory, right? They don't know me. They don't know shit about me. And, you know, a lot of people are kind of surprised when they talk to me or meet me that I'm kind of a regular person. I'm not this dark, dreary guy. I'm not apocalyptic. I'm not overly paranoid. In my opinion, most people would say that. I like to go out, have a beer. I like hanging out with women. It's, you know, regular stuff. I'm a regular person. You know, family's important, all those things. Now, I don't know that that's true or not true about Brandy, who's in porn. I know she's a porn actress, and I also know that she's been in it for a very long time. So obviously, she's taken a liking to that industry. Love it or hate it on a moral ground. But I don't know her as a person. You don't know her as a person. There are people that are actually well-adjusted in some of the fucking craziest jobs and industries. And then there are other industries that you would think that you'd need someone well-adjusted, and they're running the CDC. Like... That's my point. Listen, we've ranted and raved a little while on this one, guys. Before we did anything, let's get to just some of the pleasantries. JohnFitch.net is where you find everything John Fitch. Then we're going to get to Biden. Then we're going to get to stuff we can only talk about Rockfin. Fitch, you were telling me you were on the road. You're doing some personal defense courses. What else is going on? Tell people about it.
Well, I did I have a men's group here that I try to go on the Bay, the Smash Society. It's a Patreon group. Some of the guys are local, so we've been doing meetups. We try to do them once a month. We went and shot arrows once. We went and had whiskey once. I went by myself, but it's fine. And then once this last weekend, we did a self-defense seminar in the park at Golden State Park. It's the first time I've been up there. It was really nice. We had a good turnout of guys. I taught some basic stuff. We didn't really get sweaty or get dirty, whatever. Just basic, simple things everybody should know about just being safe, being aware of your surroundings, understanding the point of self-defense isn't I knocked the guy out, I got a submission, I won. That's not it. It's to de-escalate and get away. Okay, your job in that situation is to not get into a kerfuffle at all.
A kerfluffle.
Kerfluffle. That's right. The secondary thing is if they really want to attack you, your job is to slow down the attack, impede the attack as much as possible, and make it as ugly and dirty for them as possible, so they get discouraged and leave you alone, or help can come. People have this misconstrued notion about, you know, they're going to Bruce Lee you, or they're going to Conor McGregor you, or whatever in an attack situation, and that's just not what you're going to do.
So you're telling me that you're not going to make me into 1990s Steven Seagal, like ponytail and all.
I'm going to keep you alive.
Oh,
I'm going to try to keep you from getting hurt.
That's John,
what's going to happen.
John, Steven was hard to kill.
It was hard to kill, but that's the thing is you need to make yourself harder to kill, and you need to know a few things to make yourself hard to kill, because people want easy targets, and the second it gets difficult, like, people leave you alone. And then there's always the legal angle, knowing where you're at, what city you're in, what the rules are in that city as far as self-defense go, because you could be in a very liberal, city, and you defend yourself, and you've been training, and you hit a guy, you knock him out, he loses consciousness, now he has some kind of issue. Well, now he sues you, because he knows you're a doctor or a lawyer or whatever. And the lawyers use the angle that, oh, you've trained and you know how to do this, and you should know how to not do this, and you have the responsibility to go away. And then you may have a jury who's sympathetic to the guy who you knocked out.
What are you doing? You knocking into a line over there? You kicking a line? Your audio line?
Oh,
you're dusting up.
Man. Did it go out?
No, you're good now. You're good now. But when you were moving around, you might have kicked it a couple times.
My table moving, or I don't know.
What is going on with that fake setup? Yeah, you're looking good though. I mean, the
lighting's doing good. Yeah,
everything. The connection's there. Bam, bam. I agree, man. People have this notion that they're in like an action movie and they're just gonna and that's what, or they're Keanu Reeves.
No, and it's like you have to consider all the stuff that happens after the fact. You could knock the guy out. I told the story a lot. I have a friend. I don't know if the law is still the same, but we were in Indiana. There was a problem at the bar. People went outside. This guy attacked him. He hit him. He hit him as a counter, but that guy lost consciousness. Because the guy lost consciousness, it was a felony. And then he ended up having to go, he was looking at the military anyways, but he's like, okay, I have to go to the military, and then entered to go be a ranger because they made that go away. Otherwise, he could have spent three months in county just because he defended himself and knocked somebody out because of the laws. And it's you have to be realistic about what expectations are and what you can actually do to protect yourself. In California, you may have to be doing everything you can just to get away and not hurt the person.
Scary world we live in. Learn to fight. John Fitch can help. JohnFitch.net. TheGruelingTruth.com is where you find the audio version. Thumbs this video up, subscribe, and share again. We've had the channel taken away twice. We're on strike 2. Who knows if we're going to be here. All the docs are free, but make the free Rockfin account. We're about to get into the stories. We can only go so far. Joe Biden. Okay, there he is. Zombie Joe. Make that free Rockfin account, damn it. I want 30,000 followers. Can we get to 30,000 followers? Can we do it? Come on, we can do it. I know we can. So, this is the big story. Biden's Facebook climbed down. Now president says social network isn't killing people and blames 12 people behind the majority of online vaccine misinformation. Now, we're going to go over this document again because John hasn't seen it yet on the other side. But this is the Disinformation Dozen. This is the guy that got David Icke pulled off the internet. He's calling for these 12 people. There's really more. There's actually 20 accounts they focused on. They don't say the other 8. Their statistics don't make sense. Go ahead.
So real quick, not to stop you, but I just finished watching a show on Netflix. It's pretty good. Tyrants. Have you seen that?
I have not.
Well, it talks about the systems that the tyrants use. Hitler, Idi Amin, Gaddafi, Mao, Stalin, all the tactics that they use to become these tyrants. And, controlling information is one of the big ones.
It's the one. It's
the one, controlling all the information. So you attack your others, you create an out group. It's creepy. It's really creepy. It's a good series. Watch it if you can. The only issue is they mention U.S. involvement 0 times.
Of course. And that's the thing. People just are so brainwashed.
Saddam Hussein just one day decided to come to power. They paint it as his strategic, butting up to the right guys at the right time is what did it. I'm no, he had help.
Yes, he did. So we're going to play this clip of Joe Biden. He doesn't even know who the 12 are. I bet you he couldn't name one of the 12. This is a talking point now. This is what Jen Psaki was talking about. In fact, when they did this, isn't killing people, and 12 people behind it. I wonder if she changed her article. I tweeted at her. You're still kicking out your cord. You still kicking on your cord?
I don't think so.
Man, see if you can unplug your mic from the bottom and plug it back in, because it's really, there you go. I hear it. I hear it ripping. There we go. It's better now. Sorry, guys. All right, we're going to play this clip of Biden right here. So, look, he can barely speak. I want to point this out again. The guy can barely talk, all right?
You said last week that companies and platforms like Facebook are killing people by letting this listen.
Let me be precisely what I said. I'm glad you asked me that question. One, I had just read that on the Facebook pointed out that it was pointed out that Facebook
on the Facebook, it was pointed out, the Facebook, and on the Facebook, I just read, he can't talk. All right, so like again, he's referencing the paper I actually did read.
He looks awful.
He's gonna
Just in that still right there. Like his physical health has gotten way worse in the last 7 months.
and they got him hyped up just to be here. So let's let him try to finish, okay? So again, he's never read the report. He's never even seen the cover of the report that I just showed you. I want to make that extremely clear. He's never been to the Disinformation Dozen. He has no idea what he's talking about. This is a script. This is a talking point he was told to remember and can barely do it.
Of all the misinformation, 60% of the misinformation came from 12 individuals.
And by the way, that's not even the correct talking point number. It's 65%. That's what Psaki said. That's what's in the document. None of it's proven, but the talking point he can't even get right.
That's what the article said.
It's not an article.
So I was asked that question about what do I think is happening. Facebook isn't killing people. These 12 people are out there giving misinformation. Anyone listening to it is getting hurt by it.
So he's telling you that Robert Kennedy Jr. is killing people and Del Bigtree is killing people and that Dr. Mercola is killing people. But he doesn't know that because he doesn't know any of the people on the list. I want to make that extremely clear.
It's killing people. It's bad information. My hope is that Facebook, instead of taking it personally that somehow I'm saying Facebook is killing people, that they would do something about the misinformation, the outrageous misinformation about
That can't talk, okay?
the vaccine. That's what I meant.
Have they done enough, in your opinion, to stop?
I haven't, to be completely honest with you, I don't know if they did anything today. Up to over the weekend, I don't think they had, but I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question.
Will you hold them accountable if they don't do more to stop the
I'm,
spread?
when you say hold accountable, I just want to, I'm not trying to hold people,
Take
I'm
out,
trying to
shoot
make
'em.
people to look at themselves, look in the mirror. Think about that misinformation going to your son, your daughter, your relative, someone you love. That's all.
Now, again, this is absolutely ludicrous. We're going to come back to another clip with Michael Wolff actually telling Brian Stelter that they don't have basically a patent on truth. They're not the authority. And Brian Stelter looks extremely uncomfortable. Michael Wolff's not a great person. In fact, in it, Michael Wolff, when he's asked why he goes on CNN all the time, and he's written some pretty, derogatory things towards Trump that I don't know have ever been proven. I think some of his work is actually very legitimate, but a lot of stuff he kind of went with that train. He goes, "Well, I'm a book salesman."
Yeah. Well, that's a sales tactic. Outrage sales. It's a real strategy.
Well, they ask him why he goes on CNN, and you're right, because he knows where the audience is for this stuff. We're going to play that in a moment. Now, again, Joe Biden can barely speak. We've gone over this document right here. I want to show you who the 12 people are. They are Mercola. Let's get it bigger for the audience here. They are Joseph Mercola, Robert Kennedy Jr., Ty and Charlene Bollinger. That's right, it's a couple, so there's really 13. Sherry Tempany, Riza Islam, Rashid Buttar, Erin Elizabeth, Sair G, Kelly Brogan, Christine Northrup, Ben Tapper, and Kevin Jenkins. But then they admit that they're surveilling way, way more accounts than those 12. And then they talk about 20, and then they talk about hundreds, and they want in real-time censorship. And it's not just about boop boops. They talk about masks, and I can't say the I word anymore. You're not allowed to say the I word as a treatment. But
then this goes deeper. This is a straight up. I'm scared. We're threatening all journalists. We're threatening all people in the press. If you do not get along and get on our fucking story, we're coming after you. That's what this is.
Well, I'll tell you right now.
This is a flashback to that Tyrant show. It's like Saddam or whatever. He had some guy say that he was a conspirator. He tortured him into that, so they were going to torture his kids and wife if he didn't confess. And then they had him read a list of names of other powerful politicians. And it's the same thing. It's the same thing.
And
they're,
you know
they're
what?
trying to scare people.
With that fear, they want that white supremacy fear. You notice that they didn't talk about the rise of the Morse, but I think there was more to that. You can now watch some of their standoff. It's available on YouTube. I've watched quite a bit of it. And these guys are peaceful. And the reason they didn't even get pulled over. Basically, with their, sovereign laws or rules. They said they were traveling, right? So that's a little bit different than driving. They're traveling, and they're allowed to travel interstate as long as they don't make any unnecessary stops. So in order to not stop at gas stations, they had gas in their cars, and they were pulling over to the side of the road and then fueling up. That's how they came upon them in the first place. Never once did I see these guys act violent towards these guys. Now, here's something that you're not seeing in the headlines, and I haven't seen the footage of this. The cops used a sonic blast to put these guys down. Now, the reason that I'm talking about this, it's not like a wave gun. It's more than likely the things they mount at protests, right?
Yeah, it's like a big speaker box. I went to a SHOT Show in what was it, like Alabama or something?
Mm-hmm.
And I met the guy who was out there selling his sonic whatever stuff. It's just a big giant speaker that could send piercing sounds and super loud stuff directionally.
Because there is a point where they say that they will not put down their arms. Obviously, I'm glad it didn't end in violence, but it's something that the media has kept very hidden, probably for the whole interaction, that it was peaceful. It didn't fit their white supremacist militia. It didn't really even fit religious Muslims. When you look at these guys, they're very Americanized. They don't have accents. They're mostly black and Hispanic. Of that nature. They're well spoken, and then you disarm them with something that, I don't think, John, that I would be able to have a military grade sonic blast weapon in my home to defend myself, right? And that's scary because, again, they are criminalizing speech. So let's play this Michael Wolff clip.
Get your ear pros, though.
Yeah. Well, let's play this Michael Wolff clip, and then after that, we're going to go exclusively to the Rockfin so we can really dissect the Disinfo dozen. Thumbs this video up, subscribe and share if you're over on YouTube, but if you don't have the Rockfin account, you're going to want it anyway, because tomorrow we have Alex Jones on for at least an hour talking transhumanism, the global police state. Let's get to 30,000 followers. That's going to be exclusive over at the Rockfin. So let's go to this Michael Wolff clip.
You said last week that
and that's what Trump does. He has spent most of his administration seeing people on television and immediately calling them.
But maybe that's how it works sometimes.
I don't want you to think.
Is that how it works? That's how you get access?
Look at Stelter. He looks like such a sniveling little shit.
He's such a smug little prick.
Look at the guy.
I said something smart.
Yeah, but I don't want you to think that what I said at that point was in any way inauthentic. I think the media has done a terrible job on this. I think you yourself, while you're a nice guy, you're full of sanctimony. You become one of the parts of the problem of the media. You come on here and you have a monopoly on truth. You know exactly how things are supposed to be done. You are one of the reasons people can't stand the media.
100%.
And listen, again.
Well, I like this guy.
Listen, you won't like Michael Wolff if you see some of the other shit he's put out there. But on this one, it's just like I did that video.
Professional assholes sometimes.
Well, I mean, he's dug deep on Trump. Again, I think that his book advocates that Trump actually lost the election. He's in that narrative. He's in that left-wing narrative. But the way look at Stelter. He can't believe he's being dismantled like this. Let's just keep going.
Sorry.
You're cracking me up.
It's your fault.
So what should I do differently, Michael?
Don't talk so much. Listen more. People have genuine problems with the media. The media doesn't get the story right. The media exists in its own bubble.
That's true. I agree.
You got to stop. I mean, that last segment that I just had to listen to of all of the people saying the same old stuff. Also, you're incredibly repetitive. It's week after week. I mean, you're the flip side of Donald Trump. Fake news, and you say virtuous news.
We just figure out what is real.
We just figure out what is real. Listen, Brian Stelter is off kilter here. He's not used to like a bootlicking guy like Michael.
They never
Wolff.
have anybody push back.
The
Never.
thing is, Wolf's been on like he might have TDS, but Wolf has talked to Trump personally. You know what I'm saying? He's pretty. Wolf's pretty good at his narrative deceptions. He's very talented, and he's been touted. But for him to even say this, fake news versus quote unquote virtuous news, and put it to Stelter like this, and then
We
again,
figure out what's real.
yeah. Well,
No,
here's
you don't, buddy.
listen.
No, you don't. You're told what's real.
Well, they parrot what's real, guys. By the way, we have 57 likes. Can we get 100 likes over on the YouTube? And again, you're going to want to make that Rockfin account because after this, we're going straight Rockfin.
I'm listening.
Well, figuring out what is real is not so easy, and most people don't want to turn to Brian Stelter to tell us what's real. I'm sorry.
Well, then why'd you bother coming on CNN a few times this week?
Damn.
I'm a book salesman.
Michael, I love talking to you. I'm grateful you came on. And I guess.
Look, Stelter didn't even know what to do there. Like, he was so thrown off course that whole thing went
The
beyond.
nervous laughter, that's not.
Oh, he looked bad.
Body language is awful.
Awful. So, guys, here's what we're going to do. We're going to go exclusively over to Rockfin. We're going to talk about some of the deceptions and the inversions of reality right here. And by the way, I also did a video while I was totally banned from YouTube on the homegrown violent extremist mobilization indicators, where they tell you to rat on your family and friends and what these indicators are. And FBI tweeted this out. This has been around for some time. And then it's funny, they put the American terrorist Al-Awlaki in one of the computer screens, and that's the American citizen that we decided to kill and drone bomb and kill his son.
Yeah.
The irony is over the top.
Extrajudicially, with no charges.
No charges. So we're going to go over this document as well. So much more. I'm sorry, but YouTube is a bastion of censorship.